to Uche Obolu, currently the head of human resources at First Ally Capital, where she drives people strategy, organizational culture, and leadership development across the group. With extensive experience in HR and talent management, Uche has built a reputation for aligning people initiatives with business strategy, particularly in the financial services and capital investment sector. A qualified lawyer, Uche holds an LLB from the Madonna University and a BL from the Nigerian Law School, and is an associate of the Chartered Institute of the Personnel Management. Beyond her HR leadership role, she's an inspirational speaker and mentor passionate about personal growth, workplace inclusion, and helping individuals thrive in their careers. She continues to champion initiatives around leadership, employee well-being, and the future of work in Africa. Welcome, Uche.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Moving on, we've got Josephine Ogbonna, currently the Human Resources Manager at Aitos Capital Group. She holds both a master's degree and an executive master's degree in international human resources from the Valencia International University in Spain, and also from the Rome Business School here in Nigeria. She is also an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management with an academic background in linguistics and communication studies. Her career spans diverse industries, including the media, tourism, hospitality, HR consulting, and the brokerage sector. Over the years, she has earned a strong reputation as a dynamic HR professional with the ability to adapt, innovate, and deliver results across different organizational contexts. In her current role, she leverages her expertise to implement strategic HR initiatives, drive people development, and support organizational growth. Deeply passionate about personal and professional development, she embodies the principle of lifelong learning, continuously seeking new knowledge and insights to enhance her impact in the field of human resources. Welcome, Josephine.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you.
Great. Moving on, we've got Pamela Elekwechi. I hope I didn't do justice to that name. Okay. Currently, HR generalist at Capital Sage Holdings. She's a global HR strategist, leadership development expert, and a seasoned communicator with over 15 years of experience driving organizational transformation, human capital growth, and corporate communications across diverse industries. She currently serves within the John Vance Group of Capital Sage, providing HR and leadership support to its diverse subsidiaries spanning through FMCG, logistics, sustainability, and manufacturing. A member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, Pamela holds the Senior Professional in Human Resources International Certification from HRCI and is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. She earned a master's degree in Human Resources Management from Rome Business School, Nigeria. Beyond her corporate career, Pamela is committed to advancing leadership and professional development through service. She's the Vice President of the CIPM Ondo State Branch, the past President of the Sunshine Toastmasters Club, and an Administrative Manager for Division B. Her advocacy spans youth empowerment, gender equity, and social impact. Pamela has hosted and facilitated high-profile events, guiding conversations on leadership, HR strategy, and business growth. She is passionate about mentoring professionals in public speaking and leadership, equipping them to thrive in their careers and communities. Welcome, Pamela.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. So we now have Ebenezer Akintomide, currently Human Resources Manager at Cowrie Rice Financial Technology Limited. He's a senior HR professional with a blend of consulting expertise and an in-house HR practice. In his current role, Ebenezer leads the people and culture function, driving strategic people initiatives that align with corporate objectives. His career began at the Nigerian Exchange Group, formerly known as the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and progressed to PwC Nigeria, where he advised a diverse client base on compensation and rewards. He later transitioned into PwC's internal human capital team, deepening his focus on talent, culture, and organizational development. Ebenezer is passionate about leveraging sound governance, inclusive people practices, and business-aligned HR strategies to power purpose, performance, and growth. Welcome, Ebenezer.
Thank you, Vivian. Good morning, everyone.
Great. Moving on, last but not the least here, we've got Sherif Ladipo, currently Head of Human Resources and Admin at Greenwich Trustees. He's a trained industrial and production engineer from the prestigious University of Ibadan. He's a trained project manager and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Human Resources Management. He has over 20 years of experience in different roles and responsibilities, starting from an HR department to designing HR templates to liaison with union bodies and regulators, amongst others. He has worked in production, human resources, sales and marketing in top-tier companies in various industries, including banking, manufacturing, healthcare, and the real estate, as well as trustees. His experience in white and blue-collar environments, coupled with diverse trainings and experience, makes him a hands-on and tested HR administrator. Sharif is a strong believer in technology, change, and team spirit. Welcome, Sharif.
Hello, morning. Thank you for having me here.
Great. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us today. And we'll go right into our questions for today. Each and every one of us is entitled to at least 1 to 2 minutes to answer this question so that, we can move on very quickly. The spotlight goes to Josephine. Josephine, can you please tell us and share your insights on what digital skills or mindsets should today's leaders in the investment sector possess? You're muted, please.
Oh, thank you so very much. So in the Nigerian capital and investment sector, leadership today is being redefined. It's no longer enough for leaders to just manage risk and return. They are also supposed to be digitally fluent. So one of the skills that will be needed, or the mindset, is digital fluency. When we talk about digital fluency, we're talking about leaders having knowledge of the fintech, of data analysis, not necessarily as a coder, but as strategic decision makers who knows how these tools impact investments. So digital fluency is one thing that cannot be overlooked. It's a skill and it's also a mindset. So another thing that is needed, another digital skills or mindset that is needed for leaders today in the investment sector is being cyber security aware. There are a lot of digital risks and all of that. So leaders must prioritize data security, compliance, and all of that. So that's a very important skill that is needed in the capital investment sector. So another that is also very needed is the agility and the growth mindset. So for leaders in the capital investment sector, it's necessary for continuous growth, continuous digital transformation. It shouldn't be seen as a one-off project. It's something that should be worked on over and over. We keep improving, we keep getting better, we keep getting digitally aware, we keep having that growth mindset of continuous learning. When they say this is what is needed now, as the landscape of work is evolving and changing technologically and all of that, we're also moving towards that direction. We do not remain where we are. So another very important skill and mindset, so to say, because I'm speaking to the two of them simultaneously, is data analysis and interpretation. Every leader in the capital investment sector needs to have the knowledge of data analysis so that they can make data-driven decisions. And then another very important one is digital communication. Every leader in the investment sector, they need to know much about Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and all of that. The essence of all of this digital communication is to be able to collaborate with stakeholders and be able to have deeper engagements with stakeholders. So I think I'll pause here now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josephine, for that insight. But you've actually mentioned quite a number of the tools. But what struck me particularly is this digital fluency. So can you just throw more light? What are the best ways, right, to get leaders to commit to improving digital fluency skills?
So when we're talking about digital fluency, we're talking about the practical ability to effectively use digital tools, to effectively use digital platforms, to effectively use technology, having knowledges of analyzing data, automating tasks, collaborations with software companies, software designers, and all of that, so that they're able to help us get better in what we do and all of that. So I think one of the things that is required in talking about digital fluency, it's knowing the practicality of it, how to apply all of these digital tools, not as a coder, so to say, but knowing how it applies to investments, risk taking, and all of that.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much, Josephine. That's quite appreciated. Okay, my next question goes to Uche. Uche, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So can you please tell us, how do you build resilient leadership that can navigate uncertainty and volatility in the current digital era?
Okay. So now when you're talking about the era we are now, we're very sure that this is a digital era. And one of the things that have characterized the era we currently are, even in the workplace, you hear people talk about VUCA, VUCA, VUCA. The world is turned volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. If you ask me, in ensuring resilience, it's about a mindset, a future-forward mindset, a future-proof mindset. And I like to say that being resilient actually is not what you do. It's not about withstanding the disruptions that come as a result of the VUCA environment we're in, but it's exactly how you thrive through it, what you do in the midst of all of this. And there are pointers, there are things that you have to do to ensure that you're able to manage the uncertainty in this digital era. I'll just lean, towards what Josephine said, taking a part of it, talking about being digital savvy and, the digital fluency, that is a must. You cannot talk about a digital era without having a mindset of digital fluency. It's a must, it's a given, it's a priority, it has to be top of the list. And aside that, you're talking about adaptability. There is a need to, adapt to the world we currently found ourselves in, adapt to the best practices, adapt to what the economy is saying, adapt to, the workplace practices, what is obtainable in the workplace. And also because of the uncertain times and the very sensitive times we're in, there's also a place for emotional intelligence. You find out that more often than not, conversations around emotional intelligence have taken center spaces. It's taken the spotlight in everything that we do in the workplace. And general conversations around emotional intelligence, the need for leaders to be emotionally intelligent, the need for the management to approach issues from an emotional intelligence perspective, the need for policies to be drafted with emotional intelligence in mind. And also, there's a place of future thinking, more like a proactive approach and not a reactive approach. I would always say that it is best for you to have a scenario planning, whereby you create scenarios in a situation where XYZ happens. How do we navigate this? It just helps you plan ahead so that when you're faced with these issues, when you're faced with all of these problems, you're not reacting. It's not at that time you're trying to think of a solution, but when you already have a scenario-based mindset and you keep working out scenarios and possible causes, possible occurrences, it just gives you a prepared mindset. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Uche. You've said a lot, and I would relate with the emotional intelligence is really key. It's gradually coming up in, would I say, most of everything that we talk about in the workplace. But one more thing, right? Can you please tell us how HR foresees these uncertainties so that they could be properly handled when they do occur?
Okay, so I would lean back to the last point I just mentioned, which is also scenario-based. For HR to be prepared for all of these things when it occurs, there's actually a need to plan out different kinds of scenarios. So the world we live in, the age we live in, the sensitivity, the demographic of the workforce, very important. So when you take all of these into consideration, the demographic of the workforce, you're able to think of scenarios, you're able to think about likely occurrences, and also keeping tabs with trends. And keep tabs with the global trends, HR trends. It also helps you to bring up policies that can withstand the times, because you're hearing that okay, right now in Nigeria, these are the trends, these are where employees are leaning towards, this is where their mindset is at this particular point in time. So it helps you start forming policies, it helps you start thinking of possible scenarios that can come up in your organization and how you can go watertight on it to ensure that everything is proof.
Great. Thank you very much, Uche. And I'll be moving on to Ebenezer. Ebenezer, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Can you please tell us how HR is driving innovation and leadership development within your organization, especially in response to technological change?
Okay, so the CareerWise context. I think on the call, CareerWise happens to be the only, widely known fintech. So I would say that by the design itself, and maybe I should backtrack a bit and say almost everything we do in HR, right, needs to be hinged on our culture and, the basic behaviors and how we interact and do things within the business. So for us, we are a fintech, but we are tech-led. So we're heavier on the tech side. And we also operate a flat structure. So what this means for us is we're not just thinking of how do we build people from the technical side, because that seems to be a given. We're in the tech world, we are digital fluent, like Pamela, I think it was Pamela or Josephine that spoke to. So what we're then focused on is how do we build these things into the everyday? For example, how do we learn? Do we have to wait until we take a day or 2 days off site to go and learn something? Or can we have a tech platform where I want to learn something, I can get on there at my own time in 5-10 minutes and build those skills? And that's not just focused on the technical side now. So we have a balance of how do I build myself or what's required next in my role? And how do I also build myself from the soft skills side? So there's that focus on, even in performance management, right? I'm not just focused on what have I done. There's focus on how did I do what I did, what sort of behaviors are behind, those things that I'm doing. So I will summarize it by saying that it's more around how do we build these things into the everyday such that developing as a leader is not what I have to wait until I'm at certain stages to do. It's across board. And then how do I now make sure that I am learning these things and practicing the right behaviors at different times? So HR is driving these things from the angle of everything we do in HR, the different value chain aspects are connected. So how do we then tie this to the everyday lives of these people who are supposed to be evolving to become better leaders? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ebenezer. Can you please tell us, right, your organization is already a tech-driven business. How do you ensure your leadership is both tech-savvy and business-inclined?
Okay, so tech-savvy and business-inclined. I'll start from one thing we do, which is our books are actually very open to everyone. So I'm not just like my CTO calls it, I'm not just a code monkey, just writing code and just, I have to push this, I have pushed it. I'm aware of how does this connect to what the business is trying to do so that I can even be proactive in knowing what the business is trying to do and then trying to connect my role to what the business is actually trying to do. So it's about how do we open people's minds beyond just thinking about this is what I am hired to do, is I see myself as a stakeholder in this business. This is how my role connects to what we're trying to do as a whole. And I'm actively engaging in driving that outcome. And one other thing is also in how I think I've spoken to performance management earlier around how we don't just look at the technicals. I'll share a bit more by saying we look at our people from 4 pillars, right? So if you take any career-wise person at any level, there are expectations that we have of them across 4 pillars. The first is leadership and growth. So we've even built it to be top of mind. So one thing we look at is how am I building myself to be a better leader? So even in setting my goals, I'm not just setting goals or KPIs around what I want to achieve technically. It also goes around how I want to learn, how I want to develop. Number two is the business side. So you are actively examining yourself, you're setting goals around why you want to contribute to the business outside your own role. So whether it's you want to bring in customers, you want to drive efficiency in one way or the other. Number three is the social. So I'm actively measure their expectations around how can I function within the business as a whole and even outside the business too. And number four, which we deliberately put last, is a technical bit, which is can I do the job I was hired to do? So across these four pillars, we're then making sure that we're all thinking about the business and how we are also developing across board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ebenezer. That was quite a lot. Yeah, thank you for the insight. And I'm hoping that I've learned one or two things with these four pillars. Great. Moving on, my next question goes to Pamela. Pamela, are you ready for us?
Right here.
Awesome. All right, Pamela. How is inclusive leadership enabling your company to adopt emerging technologies or drive innovation?
All right. So for inclusive leadership in particular, there's this thing where everyone wants to pay lip service to inclusive leadership. We have fancy retreats, we have all these plans laid out, and then we come to the shop floor and say, oh, this is the plan we have,
Recording
and
stopped.
we just roll it out. The issue with those type of top-bottom implementations of leadership means that the end users or people who are going to be the ones who are going to implement this change and carry it on, they don't have that buy-in at the beginning, and it then becomes an issue. So how do we manage this on our end? For Capital Sage in general, we operate across several industries. We're in agribusiness, we're in fintech, we're in healthcare, and the likes. But we are able to harness all these sectors depending on who actually needs it. So, for example, if there's a project coming up, we look at it and say, okay, we need a sustainability person on this team, we need legal, we need HR, we need operations, we need quality control. Whoever needs to get on it, gets on it, and it splits to the most granular level. Everybody takes a look at it, everybody has an input, and by the time it's coming back up again, there is nothing missing in that plan. So what do we do? In terms of inclusive leadership, we focus on having it generated from the end users, and then we build it up. We put in all the layers to ensure that no matter what happens at any point in time, if there's any audits coming up, if there's any need for regulatory compliance, we ensure that whatever plan we are putting on the table, whatever strategy we have going forward, it's not going to fail because the people who are going to drive it understand it and already have their inputs in it before the plan goes live. Another thing I would also like to mention is the fact that we are able to also do this because the entire leadership structure understands that change management doesn't happen in a day. When Ebenezer was speaking, he mentioned culture, right? Culture is a really big part. But also beyond culture, we have to look at, is it sustainable? Is it innovative? And how does it affect our bottom line? So inclusive leadership, we are actively investing in ensuring that when those decisions are made, the people who matter, the end users, or anyone who is going to have a say in that project or that plan or whatever it is that is going to be presented or implemented across the organization, have people who have embedded those ideas, are already bought in. And whenever it goes live, we are definitely sure that it's not going to fail.
Great. Thank you so much, Pamela. Just to ask, and add one or two questions. What are some of the challenges you've experienced while trying to achieve inclusive leadership? Because of course, you're bound to have challenges at some point. You must.
So that's definite. Anything that it goes beyond just one person implementing, definitely there's going to be pushback. So the first, of course, is that there's this fear of change. Like, where is this going? We're a very, very rapidly growing business. And of course, you might just wake up one morning and there's a new plan in place. Something has changed swiftly and everybody has to act. Of course, you have people who have fear of change. Where is this going? Is this growing too fast? You also have the people who just don't believe that this is not going to work. And then you have to start finding ways to convince them, trying to sell. It might be a new technology. It might be the fact that, oh, these people have done it and they failed. These other people have also done it and this is what they did. And then they try to stand in the middle just to make sure that they play safe. But when we are faced with issues like this, most of the challenges comes down to solving it with communication and also clarity, right? If the clarity of leadership is not there, no matter how fancy that plan is, it's going to be faulty because the people who are meant to implement it don't believe in it enough. And so they are not able to drive it properly. So we try to make sure that there's clarity in that messaging. That's one. The second one is that communication is strong. So I'll give an example. At the beginning of this year, it's already been rolled out that our strategic plan for the year is summarized in just 2 words: acceleration and restoration. That captures everything that is going to happen in 2025. Of course, when you break it down into bits and pieces, you then drill down. But communication is very clear, and that is where a lot of people miss it. They have these fancy plans, they have this strategy. HR is already have put a lot of things in place. They've worked on training staff. They've worked on ensuring that people have the right skills and we have the right talent in place. But if that communication is not there, and people don't have clarity on what needs to happen, then of course it threatens the entire plan in terms of how the leadership plans to make it go through. So I think that'll be my response to that particular question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving on, we've got Sheriff. Sheriff, are you ready, please?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Can you please tell us, in a fast-moving investment environment, how do you balance in your organization right now technical competencies and leadership potentials, especially someone like you now who already has a background in technology and an engineer? I mean, how could you manage that in the HR department? So please tell us.
Okay, good morning once more. For me, it's one needs to look at so many factors. I think the first thing we need to look at is the HR person. The HR person, how prepared are we to do the balancing, the technical competence, the leadership potentials of the team? So the HR person actually needs to take himself out and actually be a business partner to the business and be aware of what the business that is HR partnering. So if you are an HR partner in a bank and you don't know the business of the bank, that's the first problem that you're going to have. And so, and again, you might also see that from the HR perspective, a lot of industries, companies, organizations, how many of them do we have that the HR becomes the CEO? Very, very few. So I think the first job is to see the HR person get into a level to know the business. And that will actually enhance the balancing of the leadership and the technical. Now, diving into the leadership and technical balancing, I think the best, what we do right now is to look at our organogram. We have the organogram structure defined, and you have all the roles there. And we profile those roles. Those roles actually need to be profiled and the kind of a person that you need there. Of course, usually at the lower rung of the ladder, we have the technical competence is the big deal. But for every functional role, be it accounting, be it marketing, be it HR, the leadership competence needs to get into place the moment you are getting home. That's when you now start managing people, not managing not really doing the functional aspects of the job. So each role on an organigram needs to be profiled properly, so that even if somebody leaves, when you're bringing in somebody else, you know that there's a profile for this job. This is the kind of skill you require for this job. This is the kind of mien this person should have. And that will allow you to be able to get the right fit. And for us in our organization, even at the point of recruitment, we do personality tests for our new recruits, so that nobody comes into the organization without going through some personality tests. This allows us to be able to know the kind of person that we are bringing in. So we allow this to take a front burner. And also, we sell team spirit. The technical person must not just be focused on doing my field, my line, my course of study in university, what I've started the work with. There must be a desire to embark on projects with people, being able to align with people from different areas. And we take, during our appraisal system, we try and take cognizance of all those kind of projects outside your comfort zone, outside your department. And this allows us to be able to have a different approach of a person. Some people, we throw open projects and things, and you find that a lot of people they are not forthcoming. And you throw it out and you see some people that they come up, they do the setup, ordinary TGIF that we do probably once every quarter or something. You see the way some people come out and they help in facilitating a robust program. And that tells you that this person, aside his technical competence, he has other skills in between. So these are the kind of things that we do and we review. And one of the things I think I would also like to add is having Ebenezer said, I think that we need to have a more robust appraisal system. The appraisal system actually needs to be more robust. It should be done not from top down alone, probably with peers and even with subordinates. It will help to give a holistic approach and gives the HR person the ability to be able to do proper balancing, do probably mixing, redeployment and rotation, staff rotation, and we'll also probably be able to know that, mentoring, job shadowing, all those things that you can actually go to this person, let this person be your mentor in this organization, and you'll be able to learn the way the person manages people, the way he manages issues, the way he manages projects, and all those things. So those are the things that we've tried starting. Of course, it's not in full blast because we have commenced on all these things. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sheriff. You made mention, about the HR team saying that, they're not really into the business. So can you please tell us, what approach would you pay attention to so that an HR person can, understand the business?
Okay, well, the HR person needs to be better informed. You need to, the core business is, it's your business. I am HR in an hospital. You need to know a bit about pharmacy. You need to know a bit about X-rays. You need to know a bit about other fields. When you say what's the aim of a goalkeeper in a football team, the aim is to score goals. It's not to keep the balls out of it. It's to score more goals. So the aim of everybody and an HR person is to ensure that you know the business and you too can win business. So when the HR person gets to the top at the level of C-suite, it too can be considered to be an MD. So you need to know the business. What makes the business thrive? What are the things other departments, the core business are doing? You should be aware, you should be informed. And of course, it means education, training. When they're going for training, don't just say that you're going for master class for HR business person. go for training of the business. So that will help in the HR person coming out of this challenge.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Moving on, Uche, I want to ask you a second question.
Okay.
Great. Can you please describe a technology-driven or innovative leadership initiative that made a significant impact on your organization's performance or culture?
Okay. So here at First LA, we like to say that innovation is at the heart of everything that we do. And very interestingly, as a part of our core values, we also have innovation there. And for us, we look at it that the word innovation is not just something, it's not just a text, it's not just something in our corporate philosophy that fits into our core values. It's a part of who we actually are. One of the things that we have done in that regard, to just show how innovative the leadership actually is and how we lean towards innovation. In terms of performance, if I go into the cultural part of things, for performance management, fully automated our performance management system whereby we use technology to interpret all of the data as it speaks to performance management. It just helps you have a more transparent system. It helps you have an objective performance management system, and it also just increases accountability when it comes to performance management. And you can work on whatever feedback it is you have, and you see that it has more value than when it's not automated, when you're not using technology to drive this process. Also, we have something we call an innovation committee. I said that innovation is part of our core values, and it is not just a word in text, it's not just a word in print, but it is actually what we live. So we have an innovation committee, and what this committee is tasked with doing is it's a mix actually. It's a mix of leadership, management, and employee. We tend to think of scenarios. I think I'm still going back to my scenario-based thing, whereby you think of scenarios, you think of where the future of work is going, you think about where you want the business to be positioned strategically. And we begin to work out all of those scenarios to see how we can impact the bottom line positively. We're working out all of those scenarios. We're thinking, what's the next best thing we can do for the organization? How can we improve on the bottom line? How can we impact the culture positively? How do we ensure that this is actually rated as the best place to work, not because we say so ourselves, but because our policies, our procedures, our practices are actually working for us. So the innovation committee will meet from time to time, and these conversations are had around how the business can be positioned to grow better than what it currently is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uche. Please, can you tell us or throw more light? What are some of the things that you do to ensure that, the entire team, not just leaders now, for instance, are part of this innovation process?
Okay, so talking about the team being a part of all of this, you cannot take away the place of communication. Communication is very key because you can have a very good idea and you can have a good idea, you can have good strategies, but how it's been communicated, it fails at that point in time. So if you have a good strategy, you have good innovations, and you're about to implement it, and you're not able to strategically communicate these things, you're sure that it's dead on arrival. So one of the things that we do is we do not just stop at bringing up initiatives or bringing up innovations. We bring up this innovations, this initiative, we test it. When we test it, we have communication, and then we test it, we have all of the scenario based to know that, okay, this has potential for success. If it's going to fail, this is what the likely failure rate is, that the likely challenges we're going to encounter. And when we have like the model for success, we communicate. So we have engagement sessions whereby we'll tell you, this is what it is, this is where we're going, this is the direction, this is what we intend to achieve, this is how we want everyone to participate. We have a culture of open communication here at First LA, and where we talk about everything. So we talk, we communicate, we converse at all levels. So when it's time to actually talk about this strategy, talk about the innovation, talk about, break these things down. We just have engagement sessions, and you show that from that engagement sessions, you're able to really make people see the direction you're going to. And once that communication is in place, you're able to clearly communicate your thoughts and also clearly communicate the result you intend to achieve with that. Communication is clear, everyone is aligned, and success is assured.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you. Okay. Pamela, I want to ask another question.
Yes, please.
Can you please tell us how you use technology or data to leverage and identify by promoting diverse leadership talent that brings innovative thinking to the forefront?
Right. Give me a moment, please.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's quite clear. All right. So for how we use technology or data to do this, as I mentioned earlier, within the organization, we have several subsidiaries that operate in different industries, and they're doing different things at different times. So the best example I can give is how we are able to identify talent in one industry and fit them right into another industry that is not even related. So I'll give an example. So after performance appraisals, the entire performance management system and all that, there's this thing people usually may not do. Taking it a step further to say, yes, this person is excelling at this role, but are they operating at their 100%, or is this just 70% of this person that you're seeing? How about you take them out of this particular field and put them somewhere else? Will they do better? Are you optimizing them? You have people who show up, I think, probably when Sherif was speaking, that he says, people show up at TGIF and you find out that they have these diverse skills. So what are you doing with it within the organization? So a good example of that is that when we identify such talents, we either put them on a project that is owned centrally. So it can be a central project, it can be a HQ project. You just have to go do it for a particular period of time, and then you return to your subsidiary, so it's temporary. Or the other option is to now start planning a transition, right? From that person's current role, find out if there are additional skills that they need. So either we are cross-skilling them, upskilling them, reskilling them, or if what they need at that point is some level of expert skilling, they get that for a particular period of time, and then they are able to fit into that other role that is, it's not even opposite. It can be from a commodities trading subsidiary to an investment one. It can be from one of the microfinance banks to manufacturing. So just that level of granularity where you're able to pay attention to what people are bringing to the table and seeing how best can we use this person's skills within the organization, and how well are they able to say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm fulfilled, I'm happy, and this is not all that I am, and I just can be more. So being able to move people from one point to another, or put them on projects that are central, that they can express those skills and still do what they do for the organization. I think that's one of the ways that we are able to pull that off. So you have people who can work across subsidiaries, people that have been promoted beyond what they currently do, and they are excelling. Someone has come in as a QC person and they ended up as the MD of a subsidiary, and we have such talents just cross board. So it's very interesting to experience. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Pamela. So in short, you're trying to make people in your organization to become very versatile. That's quite interesting. Okay, so can you please let us know, right, when you swap leaders from one subsidiary to another, how do you now manage challenges they may encounter in the new environment? Come on, because some people might struggle.
We expected, everyone can struggle, but there's this one word that we usually say when we do our HR onboarding. We tell you, Father Abraham, if I'm in the onboarding session, I will sing this. Father Abraham has many sons, and we sing, I particularly sing this because not everyone gets that opportunity to work in a place where you have these options. Now, they are separate, they do their business, and it's optional for you to plug in to what happens at the center. The example that I think it was Sheriff, when he was speaking, gave about having those extracurricular, non-official interactions is where that culture is able, that's what will give them a soft landing. You cannot just show up into a new environment, no matter how experienced you are, that you will not be needing that guidance from people that are in the field. And so it may come with its own challenges in terms of a new environment, but the only way to not have that happen is to show up in a place that you're familiar with. So what that means is that already within your workplace, you have some level of interaction beyond your subsidiary, beyond your role, beyond where you currently sit. So I can sit in the John Vance group and I can have interactions with someone in ECAS. I can have interaction with someone at Regis Capital, or I can have interaction with somebody at Colomoni Microfinance Banks. I don't have to work there. I just have to be able to have these, and it's HR that creates this environment, right? Where there are backspaces, where those conversations can happen. We recently rounded up a particular football tournament. It held at the group levels, at the two group levels, and eventually it held at the central level. You had people who were cleaners, you had people who were MDs, you had people who all sorts of roles you can think of, both male and female side, playing against each other, shouting each other down, and just that level of creating an environment where people are able to interact beyond those spaces that, oh, it's a board meeting, it's a meeting room, it's an official space, or you may not have access to so and so. Just having those informal level of interactions means that when people show up together, you'll say, oh, yes, oh, so you're the one I've been speaking to about this. Oh, you're the one I've been sending a mail about this. It just makes it easier for people to assimilate and people to be able to transition very smoothly. So if HR is able to create those environments, those spaces where additional conversations happen, it could be through mentoring, it could be through coaching, it could be through just having KSS sessions, it could be a book club, it could be anything that is beyond official conversation where everybody is serious faced. You just see that having that friendly environment makes it easier for people to be able to interact with each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Josephine, I'm coming to you. Okay. Can you please tell us how can HR foster digital agility and innovation across leadership teams?
Okay, thank you so very much once again. In the capital investment sector, leadership is usually not merely about financial expertise. It's also about vision. It's also about resilience and integrity. And HR, I can say, is a strategic enabler in having all of these things actualized. And how can that be? The first is embedding digital mindsets in leadership competences. You let them know that how quickly they adopt new tools or champion initiatives are really very important, and that helps in the promotion, in the evaluations, and in the succession planning. So the first step is having them embed these digital mindsets. That's the first way that HR can help. And then the second is providing targeted upskilling and learning. You're upskilling, you're reskilling, you're cross-skilling, such that you're getting all of the continuous learning programs. You just know that learning is not a one-off thing. It's not a one-off project. You keep improving, you keep learning. You go for workshops, seminars, webinars, and probably external industry events also, just to help sharpen your mindset, your digital awareness. And another thing is to foster a culture of experimentation. How do we get this done? You reward leaders for piloting new ideas. You encourage data-driven decision-making over hierarchical approvals. That's another way to that HR can help get this done. Another vital way in which HR can get this done is enable cross-functional collaborations. You break down promotions, knowledge sharing sections to exchange best practices. You leverage on diverse perspective to solve complex digital challenges. That's one of the ways that HR can help leaders or input in leaders how to run with this. And then another powerful way, or another very good way, is embedding digital KPI into whatever we will be doing, or into whatever leaders are expected to be doing on their scorecards. There should be digital KPIs in whatever it is that they would also do. So that's one of the ways, or the various ways that HR can foster this digital agility and innovation in leaders, or in the leadership team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josephine. I would ask again, please, how do you handle a situation where some leaders, right, adopt digital innovation very quickly, and then some others might be slow to adoption? How do you manage that?
Okay, so if you have situations where some are picking it up fast and then some are dragging about it, we try to find a balance. First off, what is the challenge here? Is it a case of not being interested at all, or is there a challenge that is inhibiting that learning process? So after all of the surveys, all of the findings, and all of that, you're able to figure out what what is stalling that digital learning. If you're able to figure it out, then you know how to solve it. So situations where it's a case of probably the person is not interested, by the time you start bringing cases of rewards and all of that, everybody loves to be rewarded. Everybody loves to be recognized. When you start imputing that as a yardstick, you see that everybody wants to be recognized, everybody wants to, and then you see that everybody's getting that knowledge. So that's one of the ways to facilitate it for those that are dragging or probably uninterested.
Okay, thank you very much, Josephine. Moving on, moving to Sheriff. You ready, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us what are the biggest challenges HR faces in developing leaders who can drive long-term value creation? So take, for instance, in your organization, I mean, what would be the biggest challenges that HR faces being an HR leader?
Okay, one of the thank you. One of the problems that presently we're facing, and it happens not in my own organization and also our sister companies, is the attrition. We have a lot of attrition of talent. Of course, it has slowed down right now, but we have movements and people have been moving out of the country. I'm sure it affects almost everybody, and also probably moving around. So that's one of the biggest challenge that we face. And we also have problems with leadership with poor skill sets, poor soft skills, let me put it like that, where you realize that, sometimes for some people, when you look at the social ladder in an organization or in an environment, some people are beyond, some problems are beyond some people when they get up there, whereas the person below is still experiencing such problems. It could be as small or as big as transportation, as children being sick and things like that. Whereas the person at the top of the ladder has crossed those points, those milestones in his life. So it's those are one of the challenges that HR faces is in all those things. We also look at unaligned goals. We have a lot of people that they do not align with the corporate goals of the organization, and is a problem if somebody cannot even take things as simple as dressing, the corporate culture of dressing, the corporate culture of writing emails, the corporate culture of attendance and timing and all those things. So those are the things that comes in. And some people will come into the organization and say that I did this, I used to do this in my previous employment and all those things. So those are the issues that comes with unaligned goals. And also, it's the ever-changing business terrain too. I must not forget that. COVID has come and has changed the business environment. And even at the point of interview, you find out that some people will come and tell you that, do you do hybrid? Do you do day off? Do you do all those things? Those things were not there some 5 years ago, some 7 years ago. Right now, you have to factor it in. And also, we need to we need to look at, especially when it comes to online goals, you have your corporate setup. You must dress in suit, tie, and all those things for a gentleman. You must have your hair like this. And somebody is coming in that, I feel like pleating my hair and all those things, especially when it comes to the younger generation. So those are some of the challenges. How do you now do it? Do you bend the law or something? It's a bit of a challenge for the HR person. And you know that this person is a good resource. It's a good resource. So those are some challenges that you face as an HR person, and developing those sets of people. So it's from time to time at the point of entry. You need to let people know the expectation of the place, so that they don't come in and their expectations are dashed, and continue. You might need to provide training for that. So those are the things that I think we face here when it comes to HR in developing leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insight, Sheriff. Moving on, the next question goes to Ebenezer. Ebenezer, can you tell us what approaches have you found most effective in building leadership pipelines within your organization?
Thanks, Vivian. Approaches to building the pipeline in our context. So again, our context is where fintech, so flat structure, which means that we do not have, there are many grades where it's easier to know, what is next for this person as to how they need to develop as a leader. I also add that we normally operate along the lines of freedom and responsibility. So that would translate into things like, as a staff of the company, I'm free to work from anywhere. I'm free to work at any time. And I'm also free to work, very importantly, on anything, which means that beyond my primary role, say I'm an HR person, if I see a problem in finance, I can engage the finance person. Oh, I think you're going through this. You should try these. Can you try these? Or if I'm a products person and I see a problem in CX, I can go to the customer experience guys and say, you know what? I have seen this. I can try this. Let's try this. Let's do that. And we've seen that such behaviors are sort of what helps us to identify potential leaders. If I'm taking ownership, and I'm also lending a hand to people, I'm also lending a hand to solving problems. So that helps us to know who are the potential leaders, and then how can we begin to spot those who are behaving in such ways, and then giving them more responsibilities. And another way is also to pay attention to performance feedback. So for us, every performance management cycle, every appraisal is a 360-degree appraisal. You get feedback from those who are beneath you, those who are at the same level as you, and those you consider as who are senior to you. What we've seen is people begin to give comments. So maybe I'm looking at a particular person's appraisal, and I'm seeing comments from different people on how they took ownership, on how they lent a helping hand, on how they owned projects outside what is their primary role. So we then begin to look at all of these things and then begin to see how do we nurture, that leadership potential that we have seen. What I'll say largely is from my behaviors. and then what others are saying about me. Then we take it off from there to what kind of training, can I be exposed to, what kind of projects, can I be part of that help me to then expand and build, and even open my eyes to how I can then improve that leadership potential that I have seen in myself and others have seen in me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ebenezer. Please, can you tell us how has attrition and constant staff movement, right, affected your ability to grow potential leaders now, in your organization?
Okay. I'm not sure if I would say we've been lucky, or if I would say maybe we've done something right. Because I always talk about how HR is one of those places where almost everything is just connected. If you're able to hire right, you're able to get better performance. People are able to function seamlessly. They're able to help their colleagues. It just helps different things. So for us, I would say because we're very heavy on people being free, right? So if I feel like I'm achieving my dreams here, I spoke to even being free to work on anything. It then means that the push factor from us that's making people leave are not really there. We're also very heavy on how managers own the performance of their team. And we're very heavy on you're to lead the people, not to lead the work. The people are smart enough to lead the work. So just lead them. So it means that my manager is involved in my life. For example, if my manager thinks that, or maybe sees that I don't have a car, my manager can actually engage me on, what do I need? How can the company help? Or what support do I need? If it's about where I live. So maybe it's all of these things. If I put myself as an example, I've gone to school because the business feels, so you want to do this. I mean, this will help you to do better. Let's just support you. I've written exams because of that, and that's across the board. So it's either we've been lucky, or because of all of these things, that we've not really suffered challenges with attrition. And for context, I would say maybe in the last 1 year, I've only had maybe 1 or 2 regrettable exits. So I would say either we've been lucky, or the things we've been doing have just been working.
Wow.
Thank you.
Great. Maybe I should come over and start working in your organization. Okay. Josephine, I'm coming to you now. Please,
Okay.
can you tell us, what role does HR play in equipping leaders to navigate disruption from emerging technologies and evolving workforce expectations? I know that we're running, beyond, we've got a few more minutes before this session wraps up. So please, as we ask these questions, can you please quickly, throw in your comments? So go ahead, Josephine.
Okay, so HR plays a pivotal role in preparing leaders to navigate disruption from emerging technologies, because it's all about leadership, is all about strategy, is all about vision and all of that. So one of the ways in which HR makes this possible is developing digital and technical or technological competences. You identify the skill gap first, and then after identifying the skill gaps, you provide targeted training and skilling programs for these leaders, and then you also encourage hands-on experience with this new technology. So that's one of the ways that HR can get this done very fast. Another way that HR can get it done is embedding strategic workforce planning. You align talent and workforce strategies with technology-driven changes. You ensure that leaders understand the evolving workforce expectations. They understand flexibility, they understand inclusivity, they understand continuous learning. They understand continuous learning in a rapidly changing environment, work environment, where there's so much volatility, there's so much uncertainty and all of that. So another way is facilitating data-driven decision-making. How do you get this done? You equip leaders to interpret workforce analytics and technology insights. You provide them evidence-based strategies instead of relying solely on intuition. That's another way that HR can help enable leaders to get this done. And another way is aligning leadership metrics with transformational goals. You ensure that leaders are accountable for both financial results and transformation outcomes. You measure success not just on revenue, but on their ability to adapt to digital projects and the success of it all. These are part of the ways in which HR can help to play a major role in equipping leaders to navigate these changes that will be coming, because certainly there will always be a need to improve, get better, and all of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Very quickly, with regards to flexibility, right? How are you able to get older generation, of leaders to adopt to it? Very quickly.
Thank you. So one of the ways I've been getting older generation of leaders to this flexibility, in fact, it has actually been a very big challenge, especially for people in the finance world. You just have to, by making them understand that this is exactly what is needed to have this move, to get things done. And then when they see that there's no how they can, so I know it's usually a very big challenge, because they tell you this is how we've been doing it over time, and now you're coming with this. But there has to be regulatory compliance, and things are changing, things are moving. So you just have to make them see the reason why they have to align with the upcoming change and trends. And trust me, if they really want to remain in the system, they just have to be compliant by upskilling and relearning and unlearning of all of the things that they know in the past. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Uche, moving on to you. Can you please tell us how can HR influence boardroom culture to drive innovation and ethical leadership in the digital age?
All right, thank you very much. For HR to truly inspire the boardroom culture, first things first, you need to really understand your board dynamics. You need to understand how they think. You need to understand what resonates with them. You need to know what works and what has the potential to fail, right? And going forward to that, going away from that and trying to inspire, boardroom culture in terms of innovative change, the role of continuous learning cannot be overemphasized. There needs to be continuous learning at the board levels. Now, you find out that most times in most organizations, learning and development are mostly centered on just the employees. A lot of people just think, let's equip the employee, you need to train them to be able to do the job. But you need to understand that where the critical decision comes from at the board level, they also need to be trained. So it goes beyond influencing the organizational culture, rather the board dynamics and the board culture goes far beyond having policies or compliance. It actually speaks to continuous learning. The board has to be exposed to trainings, relevant trainings that speaks to workplace practices, the trends in the workplace, global best practices. They need to have those exposures. So aside whatever engagement sessions you might have internally for the board, is also encourage that this continuous learning expose them to industry leaders, people with thought-provoking analysis on the future of work, so that when you're also advising in-house, it is not just from the perspective of this is what you think would work, but it also from the perspective of this is what has worked, this is what industry leaders think about it, this is global best practice, and it is the trend in the workplace. So for me, I'll just say one word: continuous learning at the board level is a must.
Thank you so much, Uche. Very quickly, do you think HR can really influence the board when HR is not fully represented at the highest level? What do you think?
Okay, that's a very interesting one. And that's why I think most times what we say as HR practitioners is that HR is not just HR. HR has moved beyond hiring, recruiting, performance management, exit, and all of that. HR is a strategic business partner. Now, for any organization to truly record growth and success, HR must have a seat at the decision-making table. HR must be duly represented, actively represented, because the future of the organization actually rests a whole lot on the workforce. And who drives the workforce strategy? it comes down to HR. So I also tell people, when you talk about bottom line conversations, a lot of HR personnel will shrink off the conversation and say, maybe I'm not directly, affecting the bottom line because I'm not bringing in money, or revenue is not directly tied to my KPI. But I say, how about recruiting? When you recruit the right people, recruitment has a very strong role in playing to the bottom line. Performance management, how do you go about your performance management? If your performance management is biased, if it's not objective, it impacts the bottom line because you don't get the right people to do the right work and they're not interpreting all of your organizational strategy. So these conversations are conversations that can be effectively had and implemented when HR has a seat at the table.
Great. Thank you very much. Pamela, very quickly, how is HR in your organization preparing leaders to thrive in a rapidly evolving tech and innovation-driven investment landscape?
Okay, so we do this particularly by looking at areas where we don't have to do too much, right? We already have, of course, every organization already has a trading plan that has been created probably earlier in the year. Okay, my volume. Created probably earlier in the year. And then as we go by, we just tick those boxes. But it's also important to look in and say, okay, what are the emerging issues, right? For certain industries, what certifications are obtainable? So for example, for those in manufacturing, are you looking at your food safety management systems, environmental management systems? Are you looking at your EUDRs for those in cocoa? Are you looking at ESG, emerging issues? Are you looking at gender issues, diversity issues, global issues? And just pay attention to how you are able to embed those into your plan to be able to transition your leaders from where they are to where you want them to be. It's not just enough. It's not just enough to say, things are changing, or you need to be digitally fluent, but you're not taking any active steps. You're not signing them up for just simple micro learning, as AI classes, simple automation, nothing major, simple automations. The moment this meeting is over, this transcribes, this sends an email, just very little things without having to do too much. So just by paying attention to those little things that can have great impact, we are then able to just make sure that we tick the compliance box. We are able to be sustainable, have that competitive advantage, and also stay on top of new and evolving technology that makes sure that our teams are able to thrive within this new world of work that we are in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Very quickly, with reference to constant emerging issues, right? How do you make a decision on what to focus on?
Okay, so for what to focus on, you have to just throw a pin and pick. But sometimes, or most times, it might be guided by what regulatory agency or what regulatory authorities are operating within that space. So in some areas, it might be the fact that, you need to pay attention to gender, or you need to pay attention to, you may have the opportunity, or you may be signed up to participate in maybe 2X challenges where you are trying to look at, women within the organization, female, what are the numbers like? Women in leadership, what are the numbers like? Your socials, are you paying attention to your socials? And it also helps you to be able to, when you do your ESG reporting, because when you have investors, right, you want to put capital within an organization or an asset or anything, everybody pays attention to leadership, right? Leadership means there are certain things that are required, and you may start from those requirements as the basics to guide. But as the organization grows, it can then decide that, ethically, this is where we are, this is the requirement, this is the standard, but we wish to go beyond this and we wish to do that. So I'll just say that, yes, first we focus on the requirements in terms of the standards, and then we go beyond that and say, where are we as an organization? What is our strategic plan, and where are we headed? And that is what helps us to be able to add other important issues, empowerment and the likes into our programs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Sharif, can you please tell us very quickly, How is technology transforming HR's ability to influence leadership and business outcomes?
Okay, thank you very much, Vivian. One of the first things that technology does is staff retention. It helps HR to hold its staff. I can recall that when I first joined this organization, the equipment, the laptop I was given was I was happy about it, very happy about it, and I feel that giving me this kind of laptop, it's a gateway to a lot of other things, and it is. So it's that's the first thing. Technology actually is the workspace, and it makes things so easy. We are having this session because of technology. Some years back, we will have been physically in a room, and it will have cost us more money. So technology, I mean, anytime we bring up innovation, it's that is coming up in terms of technology. I mean, the management is it's happy about it, and it also helps in streamlining. When you look at reportage, my reportage as the HR person in trustees is different from that. It used to be different from that in the bank. We have a merchant bank, we have other subsidiaries, but right now, having a unique application in between all of us, it gives a report that can easily be that is easily streamlined, that is standardized. Let me use that word. So everybody looks at it. Oh, this is what is happening here. This is what is happening here. On the same reporting, you can even look at what is happening between the organizations, and you can benchmark and all those things. So the reportage is faster now. They don't even need to call me to bring up some data. So those are the kind of it has helped the leadership to be able to drive into information faster than it used to be before. Oh, what's the average age of staff? We'll start going to the system to start doing the mathematics. These are some things that will come out due to the fact that we have good technology, good application, and in the system. Then the ease of doing businesses is fantastic now. You can bring a team together within a short moment and let them get onto transactions, to projects without much difficulty. So it's technology has transformed HR's ability to be able to pick to get things done faster and at a cheaper cost. So the cost center view that HR is a huge cost center, those things are whittling down because we're not making use of papers, we're not making use of a lot of printing stuff now. Everything is online, and it makes things so easy for us. So it has really transformed and given us a better outlook. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Truly, technology has evolved. In addition to technology, very quickly, what other factors has helped achieve staff retention in your organization? Very quickly, please.
Okay. We have what we've actually implemented right now is awards for long service and awards and prizes. This has really you know that after 5 years you're going to get something. It's something that you look at as this is something that is achievable and is worth its while to wait for it. And one of the things is we encourage managers for open door policies and to have open door policies. Let subordinates come in and talk to you. And one of the funny things, which though I have a bit of a reservation about, is which is what it is everywhere right now, definitely. First name basis. Everybody's on first name basis. So there's no boss, there's no Ogasa and all those things. We call everybody by name, and it makes everybody approachable. So it's easy for us to mingle amidst ourselves, and it allows for direct communication without fear of favor. So, and also, we've tried to do more in enhancing the staff welfare. We try and have TJIFs and such team bonding programs from time to time. It is very, very key. When we take people out of the formal setting to the informal setting, we had teams, even teams, control rigs. They will set up their own team bonding programs, and they might even travel, go to resorts and have a weekend. So things like that are coming often and often, and it's being supported by the organization to actually build staff morale. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very quickly, Ebenezer, your last question, please. How does your organization identify and nurture high potential talent for leadership roles? Very quickly.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. I think I spoke to this in my last response. So I will say on identification, it's around what are those different touch points that we have with them, and are we listening actively to pick up cues? So, for example, I'm trying to hire someone, and from how they're able to engage, speak to what they've done, am I also able to see the potentials that they have as to becoming leaders through that process? It's in people are setting their goals, and I've mentioned that we actually have goals that we're supposed to set around leadership and growth. Is in how invested, how much am I willing to set stretch goals that show that I am actually looking at who I can be in the near future. It's in what are my colleagues saying about me in terms of their feedback to me and how I have impacted their experience either as a colleague or even on joint projects. It's in what's my performance like. It's in what's my capacity like. Because one thing we also say in-house is that we are all leaders and we lead to different degrees. You are at the minimum leading yourself, or you have to lead yourself and lead other people. And even in that leadership either of yourself or of other people, we have different capacities. So which is why the fact that I am good technically doesn't mean that I'm able to step into a role that needs me to actively lead at that moment. Or the fact that I am good in managing people, in dealing with people, doesn't mean that I can be a leader functionally if I'm not already at that point in terms of my technical skills. So for us, it's more around in each of those touch points, just looking at who are those people that have shown the potential and looking into each person specifically to understand where are they in their leadership journey, what are their unique needs, and then how do we tailor things that actually help them to address those needs. So if I'm to build functional skills, how do I do that? If I'm to enhance my ability to lead people, maybe I understand these things, I understand the cultural nuances, but I'm not good at communicating. How do I build or even help that? So I think I've spoken to it, listening to the different touch points, and then for each person, trying to understand what are their needs, and then how can we help them to meet those needs to become better leaders. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. So we've got a few minutes left and we want to wrap up the session. From thought-provoking insights shared today from all of you, it's clear that the role of HR in Nigeria's capital and investment sector is no longer confined to traditional boundaries. It has become a driving force behind innovation, strategic leadership, and long-term value creation. As we've all learned, successful leadership in this sector demands a blend of digital fluency, ethical foresight, adaptability. HR is uniquely positioned to cultivate these qualities, influencing boardroom dynamics and align talent with organizational growth and sustainability. We hope that today's conversation has sparked new ideas and practical takeaways for everyone. We'd like to, on behalf of Regenesis Business School Nigeria, we say a big thank you to our esteemed panelists, Sheriff, Uche, Pamela, Ebenezer, and Josephine, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. And a very big thank you to our audience for joining us and actively participating. It's made our discussions very vital and impactful. Before we finally wrap up, I'd like to give each one of our panelists a few seconds for any final thoughts. Pamela, final thoughts.
Final thoughts are these. HR needs to stand up, sit up, and start taking action. It's not enough to have those policies and procedures in place. It's time to start re-engineering how best to get results. So that would be my final thoughts. Let's put our eyes on innovation. Let's put our eyes on sustainability. Let's put our eyes on doing things ethically. It will definitely mean that we're able to get positive returns on our investments. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate being here.
Great, thank you. Jay, final thoughts.
Thank you very much. So my final thoughts would be, as HR needs to understand that HR is very strategic and moved past being operational. You need to think strategically, you need to act strategically, and you need to understand that HR is not a cost center. HR is a business partner, and HR plays a huge role in affecting how the organization grows, because really the bottom line will be bottom without HR. Thank you.
Ebenezer, final thoughts.
Yeah, so I would say that in this day and age, every company is a tech company. Carrywise is a tech company selling savings and investment products. Regenesis is a tech company selling education. But if we look at it, HR is that bridge between the tech and the people who would actually transform the strategy into the results. So our role, like Uche just said, is very important, and we are that partner that needs to help the business to leverage its resources in human form to get the results. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff, final thoughts?
Okay. My take is if you have world-class technology, world-class equipment, world-class office, without world-class workers, you are nowhere. So HR has to ensure that we dig deep and ensure that we have high-quality workers to run all these resources provided. So we have a job to do for the organization to get good people to handle it. Thank you.
Thank you. Josephine, final thoughts?
I would say that finance is important, but leadership is decisive. So on that note, HR is not just the back end function any longer. HR is beyond managing risks and return, but HR should embrace innovation, build trust, and create sustainable value for the future. And how do we do this? Reshaping leaders that are digitally ready, agile, and ethical.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Before we finally wrap up on a lighter note, I'd like to ask this fun question. And it goes to Uche. If you had 3 things to pack on a survival adventure on a desert, what would it be? Very quickly.
3 things to pack: survival adventure in the desert. I'll definitely have water with me. Water, my journal, and dark chocolates.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Brilliant. Josephine, what would it be? 3 things, very quickly.
Okay, I also have water because water is life. I would ensure that I also have probably a device so as to communicate, because communication is another life.
What type of device would you use in a desert?
I probably have a phone or something. If it's possible.
I'm not sure if it will work in the desert, but satellite phone will.
Just to communicate, because communication is live. I don't think anyone can exist without any form of communication. So I'll have water, I'll have any device that is desert enabled, so to say, if there's anything like that to help me pull through. And then for the last one, I would say probably something to eat on the journey.
I like it. Thank you. Ebenezer, what would it be? 3 things.
Water is non-negotiable. Something to listen to good music on, so very good speakers, be it big, be it portable, be it buds, anything to listen to music on. And if possible, something to connect to the internet. That's also become very important. Thank you.
Okay, great. And another question, I'm changing this. Pamela, between skydiving and swimming in the deep sea, which would you choose?
First, skydiving.
Really?
Because we've not discovered a billion things that are under the ocean. And if it used to be about the desert thingy, I would have said nothing because I'll be like, you need to provide more context. You don't know if there's an oasis in the desert. You don't know what's going on there. So I just shop with myself and be like, let's just hope for the best. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Between skydiving and swimming in the deep sea, what would you choose?
Skydiving.
Wow, that's nice. You're not afraid of heights, yeah?
No, I'm afraid of heights. I know that after a while I'll still put my leg on the terraform.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Oh dear. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure having you all on this session, and we look forward to seeing you again. That'll be all for today. Thank you and bye-bye. God bless.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.